Welcome to the node.js Technical Steering Committee meeting for June 26, 2024. Before we get started, are there any announcements that people would like to share?
Yep. Yesterday we have published the upcoming secret release. So we will perform a secret release July 2nd, next Tuesday. So stay aware and upgrade when we release that patch.
Okay, any other announcements people would like to share? Okay, if not, we'll move on. I'm sorry, I'm just taking minutes here. Security. Okay. Just a regular reminder to nominate people for the contributor spotlight. I guess we do have some nominations for this quarter, and we need to close on that through email in terms of picking our nomination. In terms of CPC and board meeting updates, I don't think we have any, but we don't have either of our reps here, but I think the board meeting is this Friday. So there's no update. There may be something next week. And we'll move on to the issues tagged for the agenda. So the first one is deprecate NaN or negative numbers as delay set timeout center interval number 53005. I think Benjamin, you'd added that one. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think we had consensus. Just to give a brief overview, we are changing the process. Like unless someone disagrees, I literally kept it open just to give people one more chance to object. To allow warnings outside of the deprecation cycle, in particular runtime warnings. Set timeout is like our set timeout API. People asked for us to warn when they accidentally pass something that gets converted unexpectedly to like a zero, like when they pass not a number accidentally. Initially, we discussed it. It had to go through the deprecation cycle. We're changing the process to make it simpler. That's basically it. That PR shouldn't land. There is a previous PR to emit a runtime error that should land instead. And there is a process changing PR that I'll keep open for like another day because I'm very cautious about landing process stuff. And after that, unless there will be objections, we will merge it.
Do you have the process changing PR that we could just include in the minutes and easy access for people?
Yeah, sure. I'll post a link in the chat 1 second.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions, comments on that one before we move on?
Maybe it's worth pointing out if we don't want to deprecate, it's because the HTML spec doesn't want to deprecate it either. So it's a warning, a non-deprecation warning.
Okay. So it's we'll stay consistent with the spec, but give people a chance to find out is the. Okay, sounds good. Anything else people would like to add on that one? Okay, the next one is Open Collective and GitHub sponsors 1553. I'm just seeing if there's been any recent discussion. I do see there was like a comment 4 minutes ago, but I don't think anybody would have had a chance to read that. Might have been something we would discuss. We're going to try and reschedule the next 10 deep dive on funding. That might be a place to discuss a little bit more as well. I don't know. So I think at this point it's worth leaving on, but I don't know if there's anything we should discuss today. Anybody have any comments or thoughts they want to bring up on that one? I wonder if we should take this off the agenda in terms of like, there's discussion going on GitHub, but until it kind of gets to a specific recommendation or question, maybe it doesn't need to be on the TSC agenda. Not sure what people think. Yeah, I see at least one comment on removing it. So let's just remove the tag for now, and we can always be added on if there's like. So I'm just gonna put a comment in there. Seems like discussion is progressing. Issue and TSC is where. So removing agenda tag. Okay. The next one is new strategic initiative on primordials 1439.
So basically, I wanted to deal with it, and then like the war in Israel happened, and they don't have capacity. And Yagiz rightfully said, okay, well, it's like an ongoing issue, and we need clarity. So basically, the ask here is if anyone else wants to pick the strategic initiative up and like champion it, that would be appreciated. And it's basically here for like TC visibility and to see if someone is interested in like heading this.
Yeah, I guess I don't hear any. Go ahead.
I mean, does it need to be that involved? Like, could it just be like if they don't like, does it need to be like a big initiative with a big scope that needs lots of meetings or something? Or could it just be like someone puts a proposal up, like I'm proposing that we keep using primordials only in these parts of the code base, and it's a free for all everywhere else. And we get feedback and then land something. Does it need to be more involved in that?
So I suspect it, unfortunately, it does, because there are a lot of good arguments for primordials and against primordials. And I think what we need is someone to listen to like all those people and then like build consensus, because I think there is this like perception where like some people are like it's super important, like have this like mindset of it's super important for us to be robust and to ensure that as a runtime like we don't cause like unexpected runtime errors for our users. And then there is the other camp that says our users want us to like deliver features quickly and be able to iterate, and primordials harm that. I think that in practice there isn't a lot of conflict between these two like views, and like it's possible and like to build agreement, but that requires like listening to everyone and like making sure we gather all the like perspectives and like build consensus. Like I think if we'll open a proposal, it's very hard to like cold open a proposal and get everyone to agree. But obviously, like people are welcome to try. That would be awesome if like somehow that works.
I mean, or could we maybe kick this to the next 10 team? They feel like this might be something related to their purview.
I would not be surprised.
It's yeah, I'm not sure that's a perfect fit there, although we can always ask. People think what the next 10 people think.
I don't see how that goes to the next 10.
Yeah, it seems like a rather low-level technical discussion.
Antoine, what do you think about you and me having a call together? Because then we have like probably both sides and we can figure out like a suggestion.
Just a
And
quick question, because I think we have discussed this and we came to a consensus that we would have primordials in the error path, and that was the current decision.
Yes, that is correct.
is there-
But in general, like how to progress with it and was also a little bit difficult because it had impact on specific parts. So like there is still there was always like ongoing discussion around it.
yeah, and
So
I think
basically, we
the vote
decided
was,
something, but we're still not in agreement.
yeah, like we decide for the error pass, but we need to decide for the rest of the code base, I guess, would be the current situation. And
Yeah, I
also
think
maybe
that-
we want to revisit the error path.
Sorry, Antoine, I think that was specific to the error path, right? So that statement said nothing about the rest of the code base.
Yeah, yes, that's what I meant.
Well, that doesn't make much sense then, because then we basically haven't decided anything, have we?
Well,
I
yeah,
guess
that's
the
why it
problem we're
was
trying
a
to solve.
very long discussion.
Yeah. Okay. So we're stuck in this loop still. Yep.
But I don't know, Ruben made a suggestion. I don't know, Antoine, if have cycles interested in.
Yeah, we can try to do that, both of us, and maybe if others want to join, also good.
Yeah, if you two plan to get together and say, hey, anybody else wants to come, but in the worst case, it's the two of you to hash out something. That sounds like a good way to move forward.
I just had one other idea before we leave this topic was like, maybe there might be other subsystems that might have an opinion. Like I'm just thinking of the test runner in particular. Like if the people who are developing the test runner feel like, oh, we either do or don't want primordials in the test runner, like that would be a useful, bit of information. And like, I don't know if there's other systems that want to make similar preferences known, but then that could help sort of drive this if we know how various parts of the code base feel about it.
I think that's good, but like I think that fits into like if somebody spun up an initiative and was willing to champion an initiative, there's lots of gathering could be done. I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to put that on Ruben and Antoine. I wouldn't want to prevent that from Ruben and Antoine from getting together and coming
Oh,
up
no,
with
not at all. I was just
right?
thinking
So-
like Mushy or, someone else who's involved, like just put on, if you have a preference, just for the test runner, say, put it on Slack and explain why. I would be curious to know what it is. Maybe that helps like give us a sense of where we should go with this.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, anything else to discuss on this one before we move on? Okay, if not, let's move on to the next one. And Benjamin, I think this is a better process for communicating feedback to members by the TSC. This one I know, Benjamin, you opened, so I'll let you lead the discussion.
Yeah, I feel like I have a lot of issues at once because I missed like meetings. That is totally on me. So basically, the moderation team is usually very quick to give feedback. The TSC has in like several times in the past like gave people feedback. We have some like internal processes. Basically, I think it would be good if we like scoped ourselves time-wise when we give feedback. Like basically, like I don't like our process. We don't have a clear, like deterministic way to give people like timely feedback. And sometimes we do it well, and we just like ping people and give them feedback quickly. And sometimes we can talk for like a month or 2 months about like giving people feedback while they're still like interacting. I think we should scope the amount of time we discuss giving people feedback. In the moderation team, typically people feel empowered to act on behalf of the moderation team and have a good grasp of like when they need to wait for more than like a minute or two before like taking action. It's not like really, it's not the same thing, but it's kind of similar in the TEC when we want to give feedback. But in the TEC, usually people are very hesitant to act because no one wants to like step on people's toes, and like feedback is very hard to give. So basically the ask here, and like we don't have to decide now, it's maybe like people can comment on it to like decide that when we have I don't know, feedback to give or a complaint, we like time box it, maybe like we take 72 hours or like a week or like whatever time period makes sense, and then it's okay to send, or like we say two TSC members can send like LGTM, and then we send the feedback or like something of the sort.
Yeah, I think that it seems like trying to get like putting some process to make it easier to move fast would definitely be good to say, like, you know, if we have 2 or 3 people raising concerns and nobody else objects, it's probably better to give that feedback than not, right? And to do it more quickly. So I think even just writing it down, like here's how it works, post to the, like we have the personnel panel. So it could be like post the feedback that you think we should give to this individual here. And then I don't know what the right time, like I don't think it's a few hours, like I think it's probably need at least a few days, but like, you know, chat for a few days, and then, you know, somebody sends out the feedback, right? I see Robert's got his hand up.
Yeah, I guess
Sure.
just a quick question, like what kind of issue, you know, just to identify in the context of this discussion, what kind of issues that is it where the TSC needs to give feedback instead of the moderation? Like what's the general idea there?
So the moderation is very like always tries to limit its scope to only enforcing the code of conduct in the GitHub org. So if like there is an individual that TSC wants to communicate with, and there is like no code of conduct violation, or like the moderation team isn't like doesn't engage because it's out of scope. It can be like basically, hey, do this more, do this less. Hey, you did this thing where like other parties weren't super like happy with. I don't know. Like obviously this is a public TSC meeting. I'm not gonna go into individuals or specifics.
Because I think that there's two kinds of feedback that require different amounts of, you know, consideration. Like one type of feedback is just informing the individual, hey, here's the situation, with no opinions or, you know, feedback or suggestions, just, you know, informing the individual, here's the situation, just for your information. And then there's the kind of feedback where we actually want to, you know, give them suggestions and maybe actually have some subjective opinion about the situation. And I think the first one we should be able to provide feedback quite quickly, while the second one does require more discussions and conversations. I'm not sure if that's helpful.
Can someone promote Joey?
Yeah, sorry, thank you. Oops, trying to promote. Okay. Yeah, I think, Robert, it might be hard to define that line in advance.
Yeah, I think that kind of also is the problem here. Like, since we are supposed to take care of issues that haven't been, you know, in a code of conduct. It's not defined exactly what it's about. So it's the undefined situation that we are supposed to resolve in a defined manner.
Right, but I think we could still define a process whereby somebody proposes, like, it's like, hey, I think we need to give this feedback to X, right? And if it's one of those more complicated ones where like, or the feedback is too specific, people could chime in. And as long as we make it like that doesn't happen in an hour, it happens in enough time. Then the easy ones, hopefully like, oh no, there's just no objections, that makes sense, let's just do it, right? And we could start with that and see if like every single one somebody says, well, wait a sec, I don't agree, then we know we're a little bit more complicated, right?
The problem we're trying to solve here, Benjamin, is it that, put an upper boundary on the time of the process?
I think
or
go ahead.
And both like the time of the process and to like empower TSC members that are engaged more to like speak in those cases for the TSC, I guess. Like when specifically like when we have feedback that isn't like super controversial or like problematic. This is not like two collaborators had a heated argument and like the TSC needs to mediate. This is someone did a thing and the TSC says it's okay that you did a thing, or like someone did a thing and the TSC says, hey, stop doing the thing. It's not to like resolve the like the very hard conflicts. It's to solve the like simpler ones, I guess.
Yeah, I guess the idea to give TSC individuals more executive power in this would be a way forward. I think we have done similar things in the mailing list, like somebody writes a mail, I would like to provide this feedback, and then people can give plus minus for a day or two, and then we send it.
Yeah, so if you're okay with it being a day or two, that's fine. Like the thing I want to prevent is like we do that and then like someone sends an email and they're not sure like it's okay to like to send the feedback, and then like wait for a week or like 2 weeks, and by that time like the feedback is like less relevant, and like maybe the time that like the situation escalates. It's basically like my concern is that like providing feedback quickly is a good way to de-escalate a lot of these situations.
But yeah, I would propose then that, as I said, we, as you suggested, we define that if somebody from the TSC wants to give feedback in the name of TSC, write a mail to the TSC mailing list, and unless there are objections within X number of days, then you send it.
Sure, I'll post a comment on the issue.
Okay. And like just for everybody on the call, is there any thought on like is 2 days a good number, or is some other number that people would prefer in terms of? I mean, I think for me 2 days seems reasonable because not everybody will necessarily see an email in 2 days. Probably a good number of TSC members will. So if there's anything which is really like out of bounds, or like somebody's probably likely to comment on that, even if not everybody can get to it. Richard, do you have your hand up?
Yes. Yeah, it kind of depends on which 2 days. I mean, if it's the weekend, there's a good chance I won't see it. So, it may be 2 working days or something. But yeah, whatever time we can discuss that in the issue. I think will be better than trying to discuss it here. But
sure.
Yeah, I mean, different people have different working patterns or email reading patterns.
Yeah, I'd agree with the 2 working days. Antoine has his hand up.
Yeah, I would also add that emails can sometimes go to the junk emails or be lost. So it would be 2 days if there's plus ones, maybe. Like if there's enough plus ones, it can be 2 days. Otherwise, a bit like we on the PRs, when it can land on 2 days if there are at least 2 approval. Otherwise, it's 7 days. It could be something like that.
So at least a couple of like, would it be, just to make it concrete, like 2 plus 1s, or what number would you choose as a reasonable?
Yeah, sure. 2 plus 1s sounds good. Okay. We can discuss in the issue indeed.
Yeah. Robert has his hand up.
One more question. Not trying to make this more complicated, but should anyone from the TSC have this mandate to send these kind of mails, or do we have certain individuals that we find are good at diplomacy that can do these kind of mails with this kind of short approval process?
Maybe I can try to answer that. I think it's good if we have a process that don't make it feel like the specific or the person sending the message has some beef or well, it's biased on anyway. So I guess it's good to say like we're gonna pick someone randomly, but in practice, if someone volunteers, it's also fine.
Makes sense?
Yeah, I think, go ahead. Any other comments, suggestions? Just taking those in minutes, and then Benjamin we can discuss in the PR. Sounds good. Okay, move on to the next one, which is creation of official Discord server. And actually, I had intended to follow up with Claudio just before the meeting, which I didn't do. I might just ping him. Meeting. Just to get, a little bit more of an overview of the current proposal and stuff. I don't know if I have any people have any questions on that or concerns, or I think it's moving forward, but
I asked on the issue about like moderation, and is the moderation team up for this? And one person on the moderation team said like, oh, we don't have bandwidth for this. And then that was just kind of left in the flow. So I don't know. It seems like it's just barreling full speed ahead, but it's like, but what about this? Are we just not gonna resolve this, or?
I think Claudio and the maintainer of the existing Discord community suggested that their existing moderation folks keep doing exactly what they have been doing. They have been upholding the Rust code of conduct, but they would be happy to adopt any rules that we have that deviate from the Rust code of conduct. And yeah, I think that's the current proposal. Nobody's
They
expecting
meaning some new group of moderators?
That's existing moderators of that existing Discord community. So it would not be a new Discord server. My understanding is it's a large existing, meaning a server with a large community that already exists, that already has moderation capabilities
Oh,
and
okay.
folks.
Well, then that's great. Yeah, I just wanted it to get resolved one way or the other. I'm not like
Yeah.
opposed in principle. It was just, yeah,
that's why I
it seemed
thought
like
like
this wasn't
maybe
getting addressed.
a quick overview would be good, because it's more from the beginning one into like, hey, there's already an existing one. Can the project sort of basically partner with them? And what does that partnership mean in terms of how much responsibility are we taking on versus not, and so forth. I think Robert, you had your hand up.
Sorry, I have crying baby. Can't talk.
Okay, no problem. So maybe, yeah, I meant to follow up ahead of time again. I'll see. I'll try and do that in advance next week. But yeah, it's interesting if people are interested to sort of go in there and in absence of any objections or comments, it's moving forward, and there's been some good discussion, and I think there's going to be a specific proposal. So good for everybody to be aware.
I think for us, sorry,
ahead.
Michael, my understanding is that for us, the main benefit would be to be able to make announcements in some official capacity to that community through Discord. other than that, it would just be like an approved communication channel, where if collaborators want to hang out there, if collaborators want to engage there, perfectly fine. It's a nice way of communicating with the community, I suppose, but it wouldn't actually put additional responsibilities onto us, is my understanding.
I think that matches my understanding, and like I kind of see it as if we can do something to support the ecosystem, like if lots of node developers in the ecosystem would want to chat on Discord, then if without taking on too much work or responsibility, we can support that, that's a good thing for us to do.
Yeah, I think the implication here is that the benefit for the ecosystem is greater than for us as the actual project.
Right, yeah. I see Joy has her hand up.
Yeah, still kind of confused for following the thread. Are we going to take over an existing Discord, or are we going to spin off a new one?
My current understanding is it's not takeover. It's more sort of form a partnership of some sort with an existing one, where being associated. So somehow we're like, hey, we're associating this existing one as opposed to spinning up a new one. But we're not like taking it over, because we're not going to like actively manage it, but we're going to somehow form an association. As part of that, we have a few asks in terms of like, well, we want to make sure things are moderated correctly or whatever, but largely it would run on its own. And as Tobias said, like maybe our benefit is that like we have a place to announce things and engage people who use Discord, but it's more of a benefit to the ecosystem in terms of like making it easier for people to find one, to get together, that kind of stuff.
Got it. Thanks for the explanation. I don't think I've seen anyone from the existing Discord on the thread. Maybe we should kind of get them on the same page first.
Yeah, I believe Claudia has done that. So honestly,
Okay.
I'm not familiar with that Discord server or any node affiliated or related Discord servers, but apparently it's called Node iFlux, and one of their, or maybe even the founder of that server, the GitHub handle is vcarl. It's Carl Vitulo. They did engage in the GitHub issue there. I can paste the link to the comment in the chat.
I didn't realize Nodiflux is the same as the thing that we talked about. Thanks.
I believe so.
Yeah, like definitely there's been discussion with them in terms of them saying, like, I think somebody mentioned that they're willing to like look at our COC and see if there's a gap between that and the Rust one and so forth. And I don't know, Robin, if you've been in the loop on that one as well, but like I don't know if there's any like, it's almost like a co-marketing kind of thing in my mind. So I don't know if you have any feedback in terms of that, but
No, it sounds great. I think Kylie might have flagged it, but I was gone last week, so no, but I would totally support this.
okay, anything more on that one before we move on? Okay, so the next one is the funding deep dive. So that one, just on the agenda, because I wanted for awareness, we didn't get enough people, so we're going to reschedule, but there will be a doodle going out. If you're interested, please fill out the doodle, even if you say like none of the times work, because we're using that in part to see like how many people are actually interested in talking about the topic or not, versus who couldn't just make it to the time. And at that, I suggest that we skip the strategic initiatives for this week, because we wanted to retain some time for the private session. Any other topics that we should chat about before we go into that? Okay, if not, thanks for everybody who's watching on the live stream, and we'll see you in GitHub and next time.